Alright guys, and now we are back with the showdown between the Skaven, who shall be led by Lord Skrolk, and the Vampire Counts, who shall be helmed by the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. So on that note guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, it's going to be the new and improved Death Star. So before the patch, I think that one of the viable Skaven strategies against vampire factions, or I should say the Vampire Counts more specifically, was going with the Death Star. So you bring relatively elite troops, you tank up, you get double Hell Pit Abomination, Skrolk for the AoE damage with the Rod of Corruption and the Lieber. And it was still pretty good, but nonetheless, there was a couple things missing. What would often happen is that your Hell Pits would survive, Skrolk would survive for most of the battle, but all of your chaff units would go. So the Clan Rats, the Plague Monks, I mean, pretty much everything would either get terror routed or just break off. So your Hell Pits would just get dragged down by skeletons with spears, and it was a little bit tricky, but now the Skaven have some really, really good new tools. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first one is going to be the Blight Scabs Plague Pack. So these guys do pretty solid damage, they do magic damage, they have Discourage, so they're going to be very good at killing like zombies and ethereal units if somebody tries to get a little bit sneaky on you. But more importantly, they have a very good ability called Demagoguery. So allies within a 40-meter range are all immune to psychology. This is game-changing for this type of a build. If you're going to be going with the Skaven Death Star, so you could be using like Mortis Engine effects with the Plague Furnace or the Warlock Engineer, and Skaven Death Stars are pretty good in a couple different matchups. They're okay against Beastmen, and obviously very good against vampires, but the Demagoguery here is going to be super solid. You can see that big old radius is going to be making all of those guys immune to psychology. And some of the more common picks for the Vampire Counts are going to be Varghulfs, Black Coaches, sometimes you'll even see a Wild Dragon pick, so having that is going to be a huge boon to the Skaven. On top of that, you have another very good tool, and the other way that you typically lost this matchup in the past was having your Lord Snipe. So if Lord Skrolk, for example, it was pretty easy to just take him to town, right? He would just get knocked out of the formations, he would take a beating from diving Vampire Lords and Varghulfs, but now you have the Council Guard. So the Council Guard are going to give you that sustainability and make sure that your Hell Pit Abominations don't fight alone, and you're also going to be getting Guardian and an Unbreakable anti-large armor-piercing troop, which is incredibly good. So they have a Guardian for 18% physical resist, they're Unbreakable, and immune to Psych, of course, as you know, they're Unbreakable. It's kind of redundant. That's pretty much going to be the build, though. Just elite stuff. On the flanks, we have a couple Plague Monks just to chew through chaff. We have some Skaven Slaves with spears in the front to take the initial beating for the Horned Rat. Some Clan Rats in the back, and that's pretty much it. Skrolk is going to be using Rod of Corruption and Lieber. Ikit Claw could work in a build like this with the Lore of Ruin. It's decent against, AoE type things, but I think getting the summons plus the 2 items on Skrolk are just too good not to bring in this matchup. So we're going to be bringing Skrolk Daddy, and we'll see how it works against the foul Vampire Counts of King of the Dead. So up in the skies, he has 2 Fellbats, going to be looking for those juicy targets. I mean, Skaven can go with, missile play. You can use Warp Lightning Cannons, but it's a little bit tough to defend all that against Fellbats and Varghulfs and Vargheist and just all those scary monsters. So I think that this is a little bit more optimal. So 2 Fellbats up in the skies. He does have the double Varghulf. So these guys are just so tough to deal with. I mean, did they get a buff to their weapon strength? It says 320 now. I could have sworn it was 280 before. So it looks like they might have gotten a little bit of a buff, that's pretty strong. They're already very good. So the Varghulf's going to be coming in there. I don't know if they actually got it, but I'll be doing a video on the patch notes in the next few days anyways. But the Varghulf's going to be coming in there, trying to club, fighting the Hell Pit Abominations. They do have the speed advantage. I think Hell Pits have like something like 50 speed or 58 speed, and the Varghulfs are like 80. So he's going to have the maneuverability advantage, but Hell Pits one-on-one should win that matchup. He's got a bunch of Crypt Ghouls in the front, which are very good against Skaven. They just lawnmower anything that's like lightly armored except Storm Room. So they're going to be able to do a ton of damage to Plague Monks and Clan Rats and just all that sort of good stuff. But they also are going to be taking a beating back from some of my Plague Monks. So just Crypt Ghouls across the entire front line. He does have the dreaded Black Coach over here on the flanks, which causes terror, and it's pretty tough for the Skaven to lock down. He does have the Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone, which is going to be buffing combat stats, and it's going to be super solid in this situation, right? Because I'm going to be so busy with the Varghulfs, it's going to be hard for me to prioritize this thing. Over here on the far side, I believe he does have some Blood Knights as well, which are pretty good against Hell Pits and Rat Ogres and things like that. So on that note, guys, let's get this show on the road and have some fun. So the battle's about to be underway, and it's very important if you're going to be playing this style of play to make sure that you stay like high and tight. You stay disciplined. You don't like send forces out here to fight. You got to keep everything relatively close together, and it's a mistake I make fairly often. So firstly, we're going to be charging in, and check this out. So we charge in all our troops here, the Plague Monks, these guys, and with the other side of the formation, I form a flank denial. So I just form a new battle line right here, making sure that I'm in a tight formation, and the Vampire Counts can't pick me apart. So the Plague Pack's going to be jumping in there, and these guys are going to be taking these Skaven Slaves these ghouls to pound them. It is going to be an absolute massacre. Plus, they're going to contaminate them. You can see the damage is already starting to trickle in there, but they did have to kind of sift through these Skaven Slaves here. Skrolk's going to be charging in as well. Fighting with the Plague Pack should be pretty good for him, and the Storm Vermin and the Clan Rats are going to be forming a Helm's Deep, and the Hell Pit Abomination, one does go after the Black Coach, and the other one's going to be in a defensive posture, fighting with the Council Guard against these big old Varghulfs right here. So pretty good initial situation. I would say everything in the main engagement went pretty much to code. It was a good engagement. We got some really good kills up in the front. These Crypt Ghouls and Fellbats are pretty much crumbling over here. The Plague Monks are just making mincemeat of these Crypt Ghouls with the help of my Rat Ogres, so I'm quite happy about the initial engagement. On that same note, we're getting some okay damage on the Varghulf, and it can be a little bit deceptive. At times you're going to be like, oh, I'm in great shape, look at this Varghulf, but no. With Vampire Counts and Evocations, And I think Vargulfs naturally regenerate, so yeah, it's going to be, I mean, it can just run from me and pretty much heal. In the meantime, King of the Dead is trying to get around the back with the Blood Knights. The Knights of the Red Keep looking for an opportunity to squeak into the back line, and they're going to be running over some of these clan rats, I would imagine, but I have a pretty good screen here. I have the clan rats here, and oh, look at this. We're just getting a huge pound town on the Black Coach. We do get the double Hell Pit Abominations. Now, it was full health like 4 or 5 seconds ago. So what I did is I used the Lieber, the double Hell Pit timing, and I just go in and just break that Black Coach, just straight up smash it into the Shadow Realm. So that thing is going to be destroyed pretty bad, and as bad as can be. And the Hell Pit Abominations are going to merge in pretty good shape there. So the bounce power is a little bit my favorite at this point. Over here, King does have the double Vargulfs, who of course have plenty of healing. And it's a tough matchup for the Skaven still. So even though I've gotten a pretty good advantage in terms of like value in the beginning, those Vargulfs actually trade really, really well with the Hell Pit Abominations for some reason. So I'm going to be summoning some Clan Rats back here to attack the back of these Crypt Ghouls, trying to finish those guys off. The elite Skaven troops are really holding firm though. The Plague Pack is just doing a great job. They're up to 68 kills, and oh, it was almost the next number there. And the Council Guard, 0 kills, but they've been nearby defending Skrulk and mostly fighting some of the bigger targets. So I'm just using them as kind of a flank denial against these Blood Knights, but I certainly need to be a little bit more mobile and get on the appropriate targets. So in the meantime, I'm going to be pushing on the Vargulfs. The Blood Knights are getting a nice little charge here, and they should be able to deal with my Clan Rats. This is going to be pretty punishing. He does also get the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, and it seems like all game he has been waiting for an opportunity to get in there and snipe Skrulk, but you know, Skrulk with the Council Guard is certainly tougher to kill, plus the double Hell Pit Abomination I think is pretty solid. Is there like a glow coming off these guys? Like, is that something they changed? Like the Hell Pits look like they're really like glowing here, like all sorts of warp energy. It looks kind of cool. We do have a decent 2v1 against the Vargulf, but it seems like we just keep missing it. And every time we hit it, it gets knocked over, and we're not getting any damage. And he keeps hitting us back against the Hell Pit Abomination, and it seems like his Vargulfs are just connecting like every single time they swing, and the Hell Pits just really are having a lot of problems actually doing damage to these Vargulfs here. The Blood Knights, in the meantime, get a really nice charge. So he charges into the back of the Blightscap's pack and some of my other troops here. We do have some summoned Plague Monks as well, so those guys are going to be kind of holding that position. And the Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone is now in the fight as well. So I'm going to be getting Lord Skrulk to defend, but I'll start beating on that thing over the course of the whole battle. So this Hell Pit Abomination, of course, does heal, just like the Vargulfs and things, but I don't have Invocation to kind of pop him up, obviously. So he's going to be taking damage, and the Vargulfs taking advantage of their speed. And you can see even the other Hell Pit Abomination, they always knock over the Vargulfs, but the damage just doesn't seem to be there quite as much, which is really tricky. So a little bit of a tricky mechanic there with those guys being knocked over. But anyways, the Blood Knights get a beautiful charge. So King of the Dead is able to push me out of the pocket. The Blood Knights come in there. They get a huge lancing charge onto the back of the Hell Pit Abomination. And I'm in a little bit of trouble. I was ahead pretty substantially in the bounce of power, or like at least a little bit over half. But at this point, it's starting to like kind of even out a little bit. And Skrulk Daddy is down here. At least he's getting some pretty good value, just kind of beating down this Corpse Cart. I really do need to get rid of that because it is the Unholy Lodestone, giving a lot of stats there. Over here in the flank, we're able to do pretty well for ourselves. The Clan Rats and the Plague Monks are going to be surging forward here to help out in the main battle. And this Hell Pit Abomination is danger low, and it's going to be going down. It did not get the Too Horrible to Die proc, so with that, you know, the Vampire counts are creeping their way back in the game, and I don't know what the Winds of Magic situation is. His Blood Dragon Vampire Lord could still have a ton of Winds of Magic. He has a lot of Blood Knights, so there's a lot of scary threats here for the Vampire counts. And with that, you can see the bounce of power truly does normalize here in the middle. Now, a lot of the troops I do have left are going to be the Council Guard. So the Council Guard are unbreakable. I have 100 models. They're anti-large, so at the very least, these guys are going to be a huge thorn in the side of my opponent. And I do also have the Blightscap's PLAGUEPACK, who are going to be giving Demagoguery, so nothing here is going to be getting terror routed, which is so damn useful for the Skaven. I just can't express it enough. It is very, very good. So my other Hell Pit Abomination's getting bullied a little bit. The Vargulfs are able to just pound town him in this 2v1 engagement. Skrulk is going to be making his way through the formation. We started kind of working on these guys a little bit, but do I have anything else that has good mass? Over in the distance, I do have some Rat Ogres that looks like they rallied, so I need to bring those guys back. Granted, the Blood Knights might just go over there and give them the business. We'll find out here in a moment. But the Hell Pit Abomination fighting the Vargulf, a little bit grindy at this point. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord on the far side has landed among some Clan Rats, just having fun, just kind of beating down some of the chaff units, but I think he's a little bit afraid to go after Skrulk in this pit. I still do have one Liber Bubonicus in the back pocket, so that's going to be giving me some huge burst here as the battle does go on. So at this point, I was having so much trouble hitting the Vargulfs with the Hell Pit Abomination that every time the Blood Knights come in, I just started swinging and hitting on the Blood Knights, and I was like, okay, well, the Vargulfs probably won't be able to kill all the Council Guard and these spears and things like that, so I was like just going for that angle here. But Skrulk is starting to get some decent damage in the Vargulf, and I think it's partially because the Vargulf doesn't get knocked over by Skrulk, so it's pretty much always going to be taking the damage, whereas the Hell Pit Abomination seems to just perpetually knock over the Vargulf, and it's not really registering the damage, because like you guys see when like small lords on the ground get knocked over by like a flying dragon or something, typically they don't take the damage, right? So I think the same mechanic is at play here. So the Vargulf is going to be going after. I do fall back into the middle of my formation, just dragging him through the Blight Pack and the Council Guard, and there's a little bit of, you know, withering, poking damage, and this one Vargulf is getting relatively close to his healing cap, but the bounce power is actually in the favor of the Vampire counts right now. Lord Skrulk does get pushed out of the formation, and the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to be going after him, but I still have a lot of elite troops. I have the Warlock Engineer, who can use the Howling Warp Gale if I so choose. But it looks like there's going to be the Helm of Discord going down, which is going to be sending those annoying notifications and also debuffing all the nearby troops. But here it's actually going pretty good. We do get the Varghulf finally trapped up a little bit, and some of these troops, including the Warlock Engineer, are able to get some really good damage on this guy. So King of the Dead is going to be grabbing this Varghulf. Most likely he's going to be trying to run here, but you can see he's going to be squeaking away, but he's disintegrating, and down goes the Varghulf. So one has fallen, and with that, the balance power does come back into the favor of our favorite little rat boys here. And the Helped Abomination is enduring, and he does also still have too horrible to die. So even if he gets a little bit lower, there is a chance that he's going to be able to get back up here. But this Varghulf is just such a bully this entire game. Now I do also have Skrolk and the Engineer, and the Blood Knights pretty much have just taken lethal damage. They're going to be crumbling here. I don't think they're going to be much of a factor for the rest of this game. So we basically just need to get on top of this Varghulf here and just kind of beat him down, but it's going to be a grind. We have the Blight Scabs Plague Pack, we have the Council Guard, so everything is immune to Psych. These Clan Rats are still fighting against Vampire Counts. That's got to be a record, and it took me forever to get those Rat Ogres back, but I did notice them here, so I'm going to pull them around the back, get them behind this Varghulf, and get a little bit more damage here. So the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord does go in, trying to finish off the Hell Pit, but I do finally get the too horrible to die proc. The Helped Abomination is going to be coming back up, which is going to be a thing of beauty right here. That is going to be so huge here in the late game. The Rat Ogres are going to be piling back in, and they should be able to get a nice little charge here on the Varghulf. I think I end up like pulling them up and around here, just trying to pin the Varghulf in so it can't run away. But the Helped Abomination does fall, and the bounce power a little bit in my favor, but certainly a close game. But I think I'm going to be okay with all these elite troops. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is not having a good time with the Plague Pack, and all these other troops just kind of whomping on him. And the Rat Ogres are going to be charging in there to pin down that Varghulf. But Skrolk does get punted out of the pack, which is very dangerous. This is one of the biggest issues for Skaven, is having your hero get punted. There is kind of a case to be made for taking a Icket Claw on one of his mounts, but if you do that, the problem is he's always going to take the damage when he gets clubbed, so it's kind of the same thing that happened to the Varghulfs. I do pop the Rod of Corruption to do a little bit of damage, and I also do use the Howling Warp Kill here on the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, trying to pin him down and make sure he takes some damage. The bounce power is creeping back in my favor a little bit. It's a little bit grindy, so we will fast forward as well, but you can see the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord having some trouble escaping since he is locked down, and those Sensor Bearers actually do pretty good damage against most targets. Their damage output is quite low because, well, quite low right now because of the Helm of Discord, but once that does wear off, they're going to be able to put some serious hurt onto the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. So Skrolk Daddy is just doing the work of the Horned Rat over here, just beating down this Varghulf. He's able to get those solid contacts, he lowers the leadership with his Contaminate ability, and he does have the help of the Council Guard, so he's a pretty tanky target himself with that really good physical resist. And with that, the Vampire Count's most likely going to be crumbling here, as the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is just beaten down by a horde of angry, filthy rats. So well played to King of the Dead. We actually did play a game before this where we were experimenting with a couple builds, just kind of discussing, and we tried out a gun build with Skaven. We used like Rattling Gunners, and I think there was like a Giselle and some Warp Lightning Cannons, and it just didn't seem to work against very competitive Vampire Counts builds. But this one, we had some pretty good success. The Skaven here were able to really just form that Helm's Deep with the Demagoguery and the Council Guard and the Guardian. And Skrolk, I think, is the optimal choice against Vampire Counts. I think there are matchups in which Icket Claw is better, and it's really nice to see that the metagame is a little bit more diverse in that respect. I mean, again, I guess you could, yeah, having those items is too good. I was able to really just kill the Black Coach and also finish off some big targets with the Lieber. So I think you pretty much need him in competitive play. Of course, in more casual play and ladder, you can probably get away with pretty much any lord you want. But I think that, Skrolk Daddy is going to be the right choice here. And King's Army is really solid. I just think, I don't really have too many critiques. I think just mixing in like one or two of the Graveguard would be pretty good. But yeah, it's a nasty build. It's really tough. And had I not caught that Black Coach earlier in that big Alpha Strike, I think it could have, gone the other way. But anyways, very well played to King of the Dead. Make sure to check him out over on his Twitch channel. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this Skaven vs Vampire Count game. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.